become the favorites. I mean, simple as that. Chris Paul, they need a playmaker. They need a higher basketball IQ. Kawhi said that. And Chris Paul obviously would bring that. So with that big three, with Kawhi, Paul, and Paul George, oh, they are the favorites. There's no question about it. It would be great for the league because you think the Lakers-Clippers last year was anticipated and was this quote-unquote rivalry which never really developed. This year, if they got Chris Paul, it would go to the highest level possible. And now, I don't think it's likely. I won't say impossible, but it's not likely. But, yeah, if they could get Chris Paul with those two, George and Kawhi, they're the team to beat.
Absolutely. This is must-see TV if they can make this happen. You know, you think about the two things that the Clippers need. They need an alpha male leader. When they bring in a guy like this, if they can bring in a guy like this, they need to ship out those guys who aren't buying into Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Not because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're those guys. It's because you built the entire program around those guys. So if you're not buying in, you got to go. So this dude brings that leadership on the court and also in the locker room to keep it together because they didn't have that last year. And he also brings that extra scoring option that they didn't have when Paul George disappeared. So this is really good for the Clippers, and this is not a good thing for your Lakers, Nick.
Yeah, okay, well, then luckily for me, this has a 0% chance of happening. First of all, there is no way for this to happen financially. I know I'm the only one that when we talk about these trades cares about things like the salary cap and the rules, but in order for this to happen, you would have to trade away Paul George. That's first of all. Second of all, list of people in the country most incentivized for the Clippers to stink. Number one, me. Number two, Sam Presti. The Thunder own the Clippers' entire draft 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. They get those picks. What they want is for next year the Clippers to fail, Paul George or Kawhi leave, and they have those draft picks. Oh, I left out 2022. They have the Clippers 5 first-round picks from 2022 till 2026. So that's that's second of all. But then I have a question for my old buddy Chris Broussard. Broussard, what happened to Kawhi Leonard not wanting a super team? I'm old enough to remember the whole world. Oh, Kawhi could have taken the easy way. Could have joined LeBron and Anthony Davis. But no, he took his Saucony shoes to Inglewood, and he's going to build a dynasty with the Clippers. Saucony. And after a year, I think they are actually Sauconys. After a year, it's like, oh, man, this is hard. It reminds me an awful lot like Kevin Durant, who was sending out tweets. Whoa, now everyone wants to join the Heat. What happened to going against these guys? Oh, wait, this is hard. Come save me, Steph Curry. It's always easy to say, I'd never join a super team. And then you get hit in the head by a better team, and you're like, nah, let's try to create a super team. So what happened to that, Broussard? I'm just curious. Like, I thought that was Kawhi's thing. I'm going to do it on my own with Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan.
I'll answer it quickly. He didn't want to be the third guy on the super team, which is what he would have been with the Lakers.
Because he's not as good as LeBron.
So now he is still the lead guy. He's still the lead guy with the Clippers. And here's the thing, even if he has come to this revelation of, I want a super team, that doesn't make him any different from LeBron and Kevin Durant, the two best players of this generation. So what? What? That's an insult to Kawhi? No. And he was always
denied it.
He wanted to play with George. He didn't want to go to the Clippers by himself. So he never was like, I'm going to do it by myself. He would have been with the Lakers had he not been able to get George to L.A. with the Clippers.
Got it. Okay, got it.
You just took that as an opportunity to take shots at my man.
I'm not totally buying the Sam Presti, Chris Paul thing. I think it makes sense when you look at it analytically and you look at their bevy of draft picks. But I think if Chris Paul and Sam Presti sat down and was like, hey, my family's in L.A., I'd really like to go back to L.A., I have sort of unfinished business with Lob City 2.0. Can you move me to L.A.? I don't think Sam Presti would be like, hold on, we've got the draft picks in 2024. And I know you sort of gave your heart and soul to this team this year, and we have so many draft picks. I really want to, instead, I'm going to send you to Phoenix, and it's a short flight to LA. I don't think we have any evidence of Sam Presti not acquiescing or not trying to do a solid for guys that he's in agreement with.
Okay, well then Sam Presti's terrible at his job. He's not trying to win Mr. Congeniality. He's trying to win a championship. The Clippers have no assets to give back. Unless you're trading Paul George, then what are you getting? You're getting Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, Zubac, no pick.
First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Woo!
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I am Jenna Wolf alongside the guys.
I barely
Nick
made
Wright,
it this
Brandon
morning.
Marshall, Kevin Wild. Guys, we got a lot going on today. We got a very busy morning, and even though we are knee-deep in the NFL season, we got to start with a big report from the NBA. A lot of rumors swirling around, a couple of bombshell reports dropping yesterday. I'm going to say it. You probably never heard it. Good. Houston, we have a problem. That is where we start today. Possible big names making big moves.
Had a problem.
You've heard it. One's got Russell Westbrook wanting out of Houston after just one season as James Harden's running mate. We're also hearing reports that James Harden remains locked in for the Rockets season. One wants out, one wants in. You know who they are. You're even Steven. Nick, let me start with you. What do you make of what's going on in Houston right now?
Yeah, it ain't great. And I think we now have a large enough sample size to say James Harden, as great as he is, one of the 3 greatest players in NBA history without a ring, one of the 4 most gifted natural scorers in the history of the NBA, does not play well with others, especially if the others are other guys that are eventually going to be in the Hall of Fame. Dwight Howard played with him for 3 years and grew to hate it. Now, some of that was on Dwight. Chris Paul played with him for 2 years and didn't seem to enjoy it all that much. And now Russell Westbrook, who's one of his closest friends in the world, has played with him for 1 year and is like, yeah, love you, James, but this might not be what's for me. And so I don't think James Harden is going to change. I think he's had too much individual success to think he needs to change. He's had back-to-back seasons that are 2 of the highest scoring seasons, 2 of the 10 highest scoring seasons of the last 50 years of the NBA. So I think he believes what I do works. I'm the best player on every team I'm on. In fact, I think he believes I'm the best player in the entire NBA. Why would I change? And so, yeah, I don't blame Russ for saying this isn't that much fun to be, the Diana Ross and the Supremes, to be one of the Supremes. It's like, hey, I could be Diana Ross too. I was, in fact, once upon a time. I'm really hoping right now Diana Ross actually was with the Supremes. My musical knowledge is not that great, but I think that's right. So, Brandon, I think that Russell Westbrook is having the same realization that maybe any particularly perimeter-based superstar would have, which is this ain't that much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so Nick, it sounds like it's time for Houston to move on. Let's look at James Harden, and that's on both of them. Russell Westbrook and also James Harden. Let's look at James Harden, Pac-10 Player of the Year, All-American, 6th Man of the Year, 3-time scoring champ. You just talked about that. 8-time NBA All-Star, MVP. What more can he do as an individual? So if I'm Houston and if Russell's out and I just got Harden, I don't think you have a chance to win a championship. So for me, it's time for them to move on. Russell, there's not much more he can do. He cannot stay in Houston and be the only superstar and get the job done. I love Philly. there's other teams out there that could use his services. So while I don't think Russell Westbrook or James Harden will be there at the start of this season.
Ooh.
Oh, both
okay.
of them. Wow.
I love it, Brandon. Yeah, well, Nick, there were some funny reports because yesterday Kendrick Perkins said that James Harden hadn't talked to anybody in the organization for 2 weeks. He got that from a source that he won't name. Not, you know, he's not necessarily the Woj of the world, but he got it from a source that he won't name. That James Harden is not picking up anybody's phone call. Then today, Shams is like, nah, James Harden's locked in. It's like, all right, well, something's a little fishy. Yeah. And Shams' article has a delightful bombshells. It's like Real Housewives in this article. PJ Tucker wants a new contract and some new sneakers. What's the newest release? Oh, those Off-White 5s are coming.